Everything
is magic.
magic.
Do 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 do.
So what's the theme for tonight's show, Angie?
What is your deepest
I
fear?
just want to. What is your deepest fear? Right. I'll just put deepest fear then.
Yep, that's cool.
Deepest fear. Just for the title for the audio file, that's all.
Yep.
So it doesn't have to be super duper long and explanatory. Everything is magic. Deepest fear. Right then, Angie.
Yes.
Are you ready to do your thing?
I am now because I got my cup of tea.
Oh, brilliant. Right, I'll do the countdown. Press the start button and then it's over to you.
Cool.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, one and all. I hope you're faring well during these interesting times with lots of things happening at the moment. So, yeah. Hi to anyone that's watching on YouTube, and hello to all of you that are here tonight on Holistic Radio. So, what is your deepest fear? Okay. So this has come up through different things, through obviously, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, through, our Smurf passing over the Rainbow Bridge. But also so my first point of call, really, I should say, is there was an article I wrote back in, I think it was 2008. At that point, I was living in temporary accommodation after becoming homeless. So I was doing a lot of sitting around in coffee shops, waiting and writing and wondering if, when and how I was ever going to get a permanent roof over my head. So it was very stressful. So writing was, a way that I kind of dealt with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this article that I wrote, because there are bits of it that are still very relevant for me now, and hopefully for you as well. So I'm then going to talk a little bit about, the bits that are still relevant. And then I'm gonna read something else that I wrote about a week or so ago in the wee hours of the morning when I was nudged awake by, I don't know, something. And I'm like, I've got to write this down. So I'm there on my phone in the dark, and he's going, "Are you all right, Ange?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've just got to write this down." So then tippy tapping on the tiny little keyboard on my phone about 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes when these things hit, you got to get them down. So this article that I wrote back in 2008, I called it at the time "Driving the Change." So those words were on a massive billboard just across the road from the coffee shop that I used to sit in, and it kind of made sense to me what I'd written, and then seeing that. I don't know how I didn't see the words before I started writing, but because they were, these humongous billboards. So since I wrote this article back in 2008, I periodically go back and check in, just to see, is it still relevant for me, So on reading it today, a lot has changed. I mean, big things have changed, but I'm going to talk about that later. So for now, here we go. So Driving the Change. And yes, I pinched the title from a car ad across the road from the coffee shop I was sitting in. Regarding the subject of loss. Loss brings about vulnerability, whether it's losing a pair of your favourite shoes, losing control during a moment of clarity or passion, or losing a loved one through death or abandonment, even losing an argument or a fastly held onto ideal. Anything lost immediately, for most of us humans anyway, brings about that knee-jerk reaction of being exposed because we no longer have that security blanket. And something else inevitably rushes in to fill that void, usually fear. The definition of fear is a painful emotion or passion excited by the expectation of evil or the apprehension of impending danger. And Locke defines it as an uneasiness of the mind upon the thought of future evil likely to befall us. So, a little aside, at the time I found, you've probably heard of this lady, Brené Brown. She used to do a lot of TED Talks. And like I say, this was nearly 20 years ago, so I don't know what side of the fence she's on now. So I'd watched one of her videos. So I'll continue. After watching Brené Brown's video twice last night on wholeheartedness, I have since been questioning my own need to excuse myself from vulnerability. In certain circumstances, for the most part, I will put myself out there, striding forward in my own way, sometimes focused, blinkered in others' views, other times painfully aware of what is going on around me, but striving to be open to new experiences and learn from them. Considering that as a child I was painfully shy and rarely said a word, in fact, I think I went for quite some time without speaking at all, I was always watching, and I still people watch. And I take some stock from the fact that putting myself out there can be hard work sometimes, but worth the uncomfortable moments. It's how I have managed to have such amazing friends and family who surround me. It has to be said, though, that there are times, more so in the last 6 years, when something else kicks in. And that openness, which can be worked to keep unobstructed, just snaps shut with a bang. End of story. No discussion. Which is not only incredibly draining, the flow of energy being suddenly cut off, but it's demoralizing too. It's like all the work was for nothing and you're back at square one. None the wiser as to why this has landed on you. That is, until you decide to peek at that scabby, pussy mess under the plaster, poking the fresh wound with a stick to see what has made it reappear. Fear. Fear of what? What has triggered this unsettling reaction? Usually, the initial trigger can be dug around to find its roots in vulnerability, facilitated by loss. Even the seemingly small things lost can trigger an extreme fear response. And it can take a lot of digging to discover the absolute truth of why certain situations are a catalyst. If you could describe what you fear in one word, what would it be? Yeah, big question, I know. And it's making me scratch my head because I fear many things. Drowning, standing in front of a class of strangers and teaching, dying in a freak accident, what sort of world my son is growing up in. But beneath all of these surface fears lies the real issue for me. And I always thought that it was abandonment I had issues with. But on deeper digging, it's more like rejection that I balk from and react strongly to. So, when someone willingly or unwillingly rejects the person I am, the me inside, which I have trusted them with, for them to not accept where I am at that moment in time and reject the bits they don't like, baffles me. Because surely you either accept someone wholeheartedly or you don't. And if you don't, then trying to change them, mold them into something else is doomed to fail and they will rebel. So the rejection leads to the loss of that connection or the potential connection, resulting in feeling vulnerable and fearful, thereby closing off the energetic flow and any hope of having love or compassion for another or yourself, more importantly. Being as the universe is in a constant state of change and everything ends one way or the other, facing my fear of rejection and loss is key to me being able to stay open and connected to the abundance of said universe and have the ability to practice the giving of unconditional love to everyone, even if they appear to reject the person I have shown them. So a little aside there. No, I'm going to save that for after. Let me just underline that, yeah. That's one of the things that's changed. I'll get to that later. I firmly believe that in order to be able to go out there and give of ourselves completely, we have to begin with ourselves. No one is going to do that for us. Small steps in self-belief or self-realization and love consciousness, are a firm base on which to build a tower of love and compassion. Again, I'm going to underline that. I feel like a teacher putting red marks on my work. And finally, well, almost. Last night, lying in my bed in the silent dark, thinking on Breen's video, I was almost overcome by an overwhelming sense of boundless energy. All big, amazing words, I know, but conveying how it felt is almost impossible. This feeling initially made me feel claustrophobic until I realized that I could either panic at the enormity or I could be still and breathe and step inside and take it on. Own your feelings, for better or for worse. Namaste. Okay, so that was the article I wrote back in 2008. So the two underliney bits that I've just done. So most of that is, we've grown since then. We've all grown. We've all got a little bit wiser, yeah. We've all see things from a different perspective because, as I say in this article, everything's always moving and changing. Everything's always in flux, yeah. So the idea, so this is number one, have the ability to practice the giving of unconditional love to everyone. Well, it's not a doing. It's not a doing. When you give yourself permission to align with who you truly are and you ignite the, I don't know, the spirit, the light, whatever you want to call that, that is the true nature of who you are, you don't need to do anything. You emanate a frequency and you don't need to go around blessing everybody all the time. You know what I mean? It just is. So, that's a little thing that has changed for me. That perception has changed. My perspective has changed. Yeah. So it's perspective and perception, two slightly different things. I have done a show on this before, but your perception, how you see things, is determined by your perspective, which is how far along you are on your path. Yeah. Think of it like walking up a mountain. Yeah. Your perception, what you see, is going to be changed by how far up the mountain you are. Your perspective. Yeah. Small steps in self-belief and love are a firm base on which to build a tower of love and compassion. It's just love. It's just love consciousness. Full stop. Yeah. So that's that little bit. That's my little notes on my little essay. Okay, so Where does this concept sit now with me? So in this current climate of massive shifts in consciousness, yeah, or for those on the path anyway, we now have no choice but to live in the wholehearted way, aligning with love consciousness, yeah. There literally is no more choice, yeah. Okay. That frequency of love consciousness, put my teeth in, is the most powerful and consistent frequency. It is our true frequency. Yeah. Why do I say that? Because love consciousness is an expansive, creative energy. Well, we're here surrounded by all these lovely things. Yeah. That's love consciousness energy. It's expansive, it's creative. Anything else is constrictive. Yeah. And allowing ourselves to align to that, which is our natural frequency, is the power which alchemizes all that is not of that frequency. And this I will talk about a little bit later. And I would argue that there is no doing involved, which is what I just said. Just aligning and being. Yeah. It is the big thing that our Smurfy taught us. But I'll talk more about that later. Now, don't get me wrong, I am still a big advocate of uncovering the root of what causes us to be triggered by stuff, big or small. I've been saying that most of my life. But what's underneath that? But what's underneath it? What's underneath that? What makes that tick that way? Yeah. I used to take things apart as a child and put them back together again, just so I knew how they worked. Luckily, it wasn't anything big like a cooker. I think I would have got told off a little bit if I did that. However, the more you allow yourself to let go of all that baggage, banish the baggage, yeah, which is not yours. If it's not in the bandwidth of love consciousness, it's not yours, yeah. So banish it, banish the baggage. The more you let go of all that baggage, which is not yours, the more the root is visible. And again, no doing involved, just align and be. Yeah. And you might go, yeah, but how do you do that? There are different ways you do that. And that's mostly during the creative process that you are doing that. Yeah. But breath work can be very helpful with that. What I will add in, though, is using your breath to enable you to relax and release and restore is very powerful. Yeah. So when it comes to my most held onto trigger, that of rejection, ooh, yeah, wowzers. And that one has certainly been rising to the surface these past 2 and a bit years. The biggest piece being our son cutting off all contact with no explanation whatsoever. And it was out of the blue, completely out of the blue. I did have a feeling a few days before, because I said to Ian, I think I'm losing my son. And that's not something I would say. That's just not something I would just have in conversation. This was a visceral feeling that I had. It was all very, very strange, out of the blue, no explanation. Very weird. But, I'm not going to go into lamenting all of that stuff. But needless to say, it was, and at times still is, the most intense rejection energy ever, full stop. And my biggest rejection fear came true. Boom. But I'm not dead. Not even fucking close. Excuse my French. So about a week ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a very clear nudge to write about this feeling of rejection and the perception of the folk who used to be around me. So, my, what people call blood family, friends. And I had to read what I'd written many times, and then I ran it past Ian. The reason being is who I am. I needed to be clear that what I'd written this time was not some kind of ridiculous clutching at straws and trying to make it fit. Now, yeah, I'm guilty of doing that in the past. Absolutely 100%. Anyone that's never done that, leave the room now. We've all done it, yeah? Because we want to be validated, do we not? So, yeah. But something I do know for sure, even if the words that I'm going to get into in a minute, are complete and utter garbage, one thing I do know, magic is energy. Everything is energy, which means everything is magic. Ta-da! And to go one further, this will make sense in a minute, energy is frequency. Ergo, frequency is everything, so frequency is magic. All will become clear in a moment. So, this little thing that I wrote at 3 o'clock in the morning was titled, "Why is my family shrinking?" And I don't mean in stature. I mean in numbers. So the passing of Smurfy has certainly brought up some really tough questions around what I feel is the shrinking of my family. And I mean so-called blood family. Examining this, I asked my higher self, as you do, why this was. Because family, by definition, would grow under normal circumstances like a tree. Part of the illusion of when something appears to be smaller is, in fact, perspective. Ta-da! In this case, distance. And I kid you not, some of these people have literally put a shit ton of miles between themselves and me. And some of them got really nasty in the process too, for no reason that I could possibly discern. Yeah. And when I was kind of reviewing this, because like I say, this is a week ago that I wrote this, I was examining, any time that I'd cut friendship with someone, it was usually because they'd done something so disgusting that I just, it's like, oh my God, strong betrayal kind of energies and things like that, or, gossiping about me behind my back to my other friends who would then go, Ange, I think you need to know this. That's a big no-no for me, can't trust people like that. But literally some of these people who have put this distance, this miles, hundreds of miles, some of them, yeah, would get really, really vicious, yeah, and attacky before they went, right, I'm moving away and I'm never going to speak to you again. I'm like, I don't get it. Because, through everything that myself and Ian have done, we've helped people, when they've had quite serious problems, some of them, we've helped them out, we've listened, all those things, yeah. And yet that point where they get, it's like they explode. It's really weird. So, yeah. So some of these people actually put, huge distances, huge miles between myself and them, and got really nasty about it. So this is distance from people who were not necessarily, so this was what was coming through from my higher self. They weren't necessarily a lead part in my journey. So I come from an acting background, just to, let you know, but I know what I'm talking about. So they were just extras, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it makes sense. Yeah. So I know from a message that I got a few months ago that we, myself and Ian, are here for this metaphysical journey, the unfolding synchronistic path of ascension, nothing else. Which makes sense because every time we've tried to, start a business or anything like that, try to make money, it's just fallen on its face. Yeah. And we have tried, I don't know, over 10 years. Yeah. Had some amazing ideas, never worked. And now I know why. Because we're not here to do that. We're not here to make, hundreds of thousands of pounds. We're here for this journey. That's it. Yeah. So by stepping fully into and onto that path, anything unaligned falls away. So Smurfy was here by design to walk part of that way, teaching us pure joy and love, and that power that has, yeah. Because he was a little dog, but he was awesomely powerful, yeah. Both myself and Ian were quite damaged people by childhood circumstances, and what Smurfy did for us was to bring us truly together and recognize love consciousness. That's what he bought for us. That was his gift, and still is, because I know he's around here. I've seen him twice, and I've heard him barking. He woke me up. So what I have been perceiving as a shrinking, a reduction one by one of those that I thought were close to me, is actually the perspective of where on the path I am. And it's a bit lonely. But then is it? That's the question. If those who are no longer on the stage are not here because their part has ended, and a lot of those actors have long since removed their makeup and costumes and gone home, I guess once I committed fully to this awakening path, and I've been saying for years, there is nothing, no one, no place, no thing, no nothing that is getting me off this path. I am on it, and that is it. It's a one-way train. So once I was fully committed to this path, it was a done deal that anything, person, or anything not on that path, or even on a parallel path, because it's a bandwidth of frequencies, yeah, I would no longer, they would no longer be in my perspective and perception. Again, makes sense, right? So is this an indicator that we're on the right path? I'd say tentatively, yes. But you cannot carry the old frequencies of what was before. You cannot. If it is not in the same frequency band, old bits of reality of discordant frequencies will find their own level. Yeah. Which may or not be the same as yours. That which is not harmonic falls, like the darkness retreating from the light. Who knows where those folk are on their path? For I cannot see them, literally. They are so far away from me, I cannot see them. Yeah. Just as well. It leaves me no choice but to focus on being on my path with little or no distractions. And that is fine for now. So what this is, yeah, is evolution. This isn't evolution that's happening in my tiny little corner in my flat. Yeah. And I imagine there's many people out there who are having an evolution in a tiny little corner in the house or the flat or wherever. Yeah. What is evolution? It's out of the box thinking. Because at no point could I have imagined that my son would disappear, that my, the blood family that I was close to just vanish. Yeah. That our Smurf would not be here anymore. All those things, they're not here anymore. And I couldn't have imagined in a million years, that they would go, and what would the reason be that they would go. But it's an evolution, which is to do with frequency. Yeah. So suspending your disbelief until the physical reality catches up with the expanded heart mind. And the what's the word I'm looking for? The example that I had was planes, airplanes. Yeah. Once upon a time, people could not even imagine machines flying in the sky. Yeah. It was just, no. They couldn't even imagine going really fast, like in a car or on a train. They used to think that if you got on a train that you'd die because you were going too fast. So at some point there was an evolution in, or a getting out of the box, expanding the mind, the heart mind. Yeah. So there's an expansion of the heart mind, which is the evolution. It's expansion. Yeah. There's no other word for it. Expansion. Yeah. Expanded thinking. Yeah. In that expanded thinking, someone thought into form, created a machine that flies in the sky. So going back to, let me get my page. Is this an indicator that we are on the right path? Well, I don't know about you guys out there that are on this path, but I know things about what it looks like when we are in an evolved place that looks nothing like where we are now. I've had very visceral experiences of being able to move from one place to somewhere else without machines. Yeah. In meditation twice. First one I saw from a distance, from above, what the planet looks like in its natural form. Yeah. And it was just green. Obviously there was water, obviously, but it was just green with very not even villages. I wouldn't even call them villages. It's just, like not very populated at all, in fact. And the other time I experienced this, I was journeying with Sekhmet, and she took me through into what people would commonly refer to as New Earth. Yeah, but it's the Earth as it truly is. Yeah, without the overlay of all the other crap. And what I realized, so when she took me through into this space, my initial experience was I couldn't breathe. And then I realized I was breathing in pure love consciousness. It wasn't, air. We call air. It was pure love consciousness. And once I realized that, I could breathe. And it was phenomenal. So, some people might say, oh, well, that's just your imagination. Fine, whatever. But imagination has got us everything around us so far, thought form. Yeah. So is this an indicator that we are on the right path? Well, I would say this expansion of the heart mind. So this is the heart feeding the mind, as opposed to the mind overruling everything. Yeah. And being a dictator with a little squeaky voice. If the heart mind expansion is what evolves us, then let's do it. I'm in. Put your hand up if you're in. I am. Thank you very much. So Yeah, tentatively, yeah, we're on the path. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a little something to end on, and then I'm going to open it up because I really think that this, discussion, yeah, definitely. So I want to share some of this is Vulnerability 101. So this is a poem I wrote for our Smurf the day after he passed. I did record it, and I did share it with a few people, but not many. Because I was crying when I was reading it. So it's called Angel Smurf. Today, the world lost a bright light. Today, our Smurf let go his fight. A little dog with a massive heart. A little dog had a brand new start. The Battersea boy, Battersea's best, with the angel on his chest. He never stopped, even when his tiredness showed. He soldiered on, led by his nose. And yes, he was nosy, as all dogs ought. To live life full of love was what he taught. So many memories of adventures he had. Live on for us all, even though we're sad. From hikes and camps, boats and barks, treats and toys, prezzies and larks. He came to us, chose us, in fact, scared and alone. With love and devotion, we gave him a home. When he first appeared, he did a wee on my boot. Mummy, you're my mummy, plain to see. Murph the Smurf, we miss you forever. The little dog with the big, big heart, with the angel on his chest. We love you, good boy. You are the very best. Even the geese said fare thee well, with a flyover in an M. Odin and Hecate called to see you through, and Ben was there to greet you. And just in case you didn't know, a hoverfly said goodbye too. All of nature lit your way. You've got your wings for real today. So, folks, I want to open this up to anyone who wants to talk about vulnerability, your deepest fear. Anybody?
Well, I just want to thank you, Angie, for what you've just done and said and shared.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I've shared a little meme while I was listening to what you said. I don't know how just the universe works this way. So a meme came across my feed, and it's the electromagnetic field of love compared to the electromagnetic field of fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's on the station group, and I thought that was very, very synchronistic that would pop up. Just as you're talking about what it is that you're talking about.
That's how it works, isn't it? That's the magic.
Yeah, it is.
That's
exactly
the magic, you know? And, if Murphy taught me anything, it's, he taught me everything is magic. Because when we first met him, we've been looking around Battersea. We've gone up and down, and like, you know, all these poor dogs. And I was crying. Ian was crying, and I was just about to say, no, you know, we need to go. I can't do this anymore. And Ian said, hang on, let's just go over there. And there he was. There he was. He had a little patter. So we came up to the, you know, the prison bars, so to speak, because it was like a prison, that place then. It's changed a bit now, but you know. So he came up to the bars, put his little chin through. He could just fit through the bars, so we could tickle him under the chin. And then he disappeared. He went and got his ball, and he's like, very pleased with himself. He's got his tennis ball in his mouth, and it's like, we can't throw it for you, but you know, he was very, you know. So he had a little patter that he was, and we're like, that's our dog. And then when we actually met him, I'll say he weed on my boot, and he's like, you're mine. Oh, so cute, so cute. Would anyone like to?
It sounds like we have had very similar experiences. I'm originally from a big family, and now none speak to me. And a similar thing is, I know not what I've done.
Absolutely.
To warrant that. So it's totally relatable to me what you said.
Wow.
And in that, and the same thing, I feel it's the same thing, because there's a reason that we are this way, that we are kind of on our own, not really on our own, because obviously we have all our lovely friends, but is because that all those other people had to be shed, if you like, because they're not on the same path as us.
Yeah.
They're not going in the same direction.
And
we have to leave them behind. So they've fallen by the way at various times, because they're not going to be where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's very similar story.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Rachel.
That's okay. I really felt connected to you when you were saying that, and I just thought, oh wow, this is such a similar story to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, because my both sides of my family are quite large families, and all with, you know, children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. You know, it's really weird, and they're all very close. They're all very close, but it's like, you know, and Ian's had exactly the same experience. It's really strange.
Really bizarre, isn't it? I mean, even one of my great nieces is named after me, so we were just this massively close family.
Yeah.
And then it's just it's like, oh, okay.
It's like you look around one day and you go, where's everybody gone? It's like you're literally on the top of the mountain and there's no one else around.
Where is everybody?
Yeah. It's like something out of the Truman Show. Wow.
But yeah, I know. I still believe I'm truly blessed, because I do have some wonderful people in my life. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the people that, you know, they always say blood is thicker than water. Well, I disagree.
Yeah.
You know, the people that, you know, you meet who choose to be in your life, they're the ones that count, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After experiencing, you know, everything that's happened, I wholeheartedly concur.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, excuse me, I've got a bit of a runny nose now.
And yeah, thank you for sharing, Angie.
Oh, you're welcome. Would anyone else like to say anything? Something? Anything? There was a band in the 90s called James, and one of their songs was say something, anything. Even if it's blah. Anybody?
Well, I was listening to what you were saying earlier about fear and, the possibility of something happening, the fear factor of that, right?
Yeah.
And so this is name of this channel is what, holistic, or it's a
Holistic radio.
So, anyways, my daughter's, she's had seizures, and then she was on the seizure medication for a couple of years, got off of it, but then wasn't doing keto, right? So kind of sugar. Then she had another one. Then her mom put her back. Her mom put her back on the seizure medication, which kind of gives you side effects. It gives you like issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has this issue like fear of a seizure, right? Like where and just anxiety and she was having she was having like panic attacks, and I couldn't figure out why. Because I was trying to do the natural route, like keto and just natural, not without the medicine. I thought her mom was on the same page, but she wasn't, and so I couldn't figure out. I thought she was detoxing from like the Keppra. But yeah, that reminded me of that, and we're trying to situate that out right now, which is keto. Basically, we'll just do keto for that. But yeah, just like irrational panic attacks. There's no reason for it, right? But she's doing that, and like you have no control. Like I don't have control. Her mom doesn't have control. And she doesn't have any control of it, right? So what's going on? Well, it's the drug. It's not a natural state.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely horrible, basically. And I kind of took the medicine away, right? And last night, and then there was a big issue about that. Because, well, it's not. What is it, right? Is it going to stop? Because I don't. I just want to do the keto, right? Like I did research like immediately, which your mom didn't do. Like, why don't people do that? Like, I don't know. Why don't people look up what you're giving your daughter? What are the side effects? What is it?
Absolutely.
Zero of that was done. I did it, but why didn't she? Right? But yeah, that fear. That's what's going on too. Like she's like, well, what if the seizure comes back?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, just don't do sugar, like this is causing the anxiety, and like this was causing, I had to tell her like an adult, even though, but she's in that state of mind when I was talking to her, like it's just like she's in a panic, bad state, basically, right? It's irrational. It's like it's like a panic, having a panic attack for no reason now. So this was last night. She had a seizure with me for the first time, like I was just me by myself, me and her sister. And I'm like, that's something I don't want to ever have again. And I thought she was off of it. So when she was having these like panic attacks, I took her and her sister up from school, and she's in the front seat, and she's like, just like, I don't know, just, you can tell she's having issues. I'm like, what's going on? I couldn't figure it out. I thought she was detoxing from the seizure medication, because I thought her mom was going my way, not that way. But she was still on it, so that would have solved the mystery there. Yeah, just giving her horrible side effects. But yeah, the fear when you read the poem is like, what is fear? That's kind of what she has now, but it could be both, right? Like, because if you're scared you're gonna have a seizure, that's a scary feeling. Like if you could just like you lose control like out of nowhere, regardless if you're on anxiety, regardless of the extra, even with no extra anxiety from the medication, that's just a scary feeling, right? All by itself.
Absolutely. And when I was talking about when I was having that overwhelming sense of, and when I was a child, I used to think that same feeling was claustrophobia, and it was horrible. I used to feel like the walls were closing in on me, all that kind of stuff, and I couldn't speak to anyone about it. I was a child, my parents didn't want to hear about that stuff. But when I felt that, later on in my life, what I realized it was actually the flip of that. So it's, that fear, once it's like it gets its hooks in you. And it's really challenging to get those back out again. But I suppose the practical way to do that is to make different choices. So when that begins to come up, because there'll be something that happens before that fear hits you, there'll be something that is the trigger. Yeah, it's like it's like something. How can I explain it? It's like a smaller version of the big trigger. Yeah, will happen, and you can either choose to fully embrace that, or you can try it. So this idea of learning how, because we don't know how to relax, because we're in a world that is absolutely crazy, 100 miles an hour. Yeah. So even if you can teach yourself and your daughter, maybe your partner as well, to kind of just relax, like actually physically get your body to relax.
Here's the thing, that's what I was doing. I thought she was off of that drug or whatever I call it, medication.
Yeah.
And I was doing it. I was doing some qigong stuff for myself, right? I'm like, hey, you guys, let's do this together. And it was just real simple movements. It wasn't anything any complex thing, but I felt it was beneficial. So I let them in on it, right? And then I was doing I picked up some Dead Sea salt the other day, and you take a bath in that, and you really relax.
Oh yes,
like big time.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, and I was kind of basically sharing that with them, sharing the the qigong, just simple movements. It was kind of fun too, right?
Yeah.
And so I was doing that, but basically, if she's on that medication, it's like, well, I was being sabotaged. I feel like that medication was literally like, that's a sabotage, and that's like, well, why am I going to do this when this is literally giving you anxiety? It's giving you, it's supposed to quote unquote stop seizures, which a keto diet has been proven to do in the past, right? It's pretty well proven, right? So yeah, it's like, I feel like I was sabotaged when I found out, the other night about that. So, yeah, so then like, well, but she's like, I don't know what's going on. Is the drugs doing more damage? Because it's just like, it's kind of gotten worse. Like, I don't know what's going on except for the medication, right? Like she's just like really in a bad, just like covering her ears, like at night, like if just something happens, like I don't know what's going on. I come home and what's going on? I'm standing there like, what's going on again? Like, why is it happening at night? Even like yesterday, she's home all day. Like, why would it happen at night versus her, the daytime, because your brain shouldn't have been overstressed. So I was kind of trying to get to the bottom of that too. But yeah, so it's like I was kind of doing that, right? Like meditation is also good, if you teach a child to meditate also. But which is the movements, the qigong movements. I know it's like a stupid word, but it's like it is just movements, and you just like moving your hands, waving your hands up and down in front of you, and breathing, right? So you like breathe in when you go up and breathe out when you go down. Just really simple stuff that puts you back in the present.
Absolutely, and it centers everything. It centers everything.
Right. So I was doing that for myself, and like I said, I was doing that with them when I could, when we had time, and they liked it, but this is just like a sabotage with this medication. And I know her mom is basically just trying to do the best for her, right? And following orders, kind of. But the thing is, you got to cut out sugar, like, so she got off the medication, and which you should start getting your brain back basically from the medication that screws you up, gives you like phobias and different so, but you got to clean up your diet. You can't do sugar. Like, you go out to eat, you eat junk food, then you grab a soda. So there was a lot of that going on. Like, there was no discipline as far as diet, really, right? It wasn't like a bad diet all the time, but like there's got to be discipline, and like right now I just want to be real strict about it.
Yeah, and I we all eat, so that's the biggest thing that you can change that will affect your health depending on what you eat. So yeah, I would definitely go down that road. But I think again, there's fear there. I remember years and years and years ago. So I've been vegan now for since 2012. But before that, I was always really scared to make that jump. I was basically vegetarian with the occasional, I'd eat meat now and again, but not that much. But to make that jump to vegan, there was fear there. So it stopped me from doing the one thing that I actually wanted to do. So, and how that can come up is resistance. So I don't know if it's possible to change little bits at a time.
Well, yeah, we're just, the keto, and it's funny, like, while you're vegan, we're in two different diet camps here, but the ketogenic diet it looks like it originated from, seizures, like a solution, right? And
oh, wow.
It was like kind of, before it was a fad and all that, right? So yeah, it's good for the brain health. Like, your brain is better on fat versus carbs and sugar. So yeah, I like done a little research, but anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna go do that route.
Cool. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else have anything they wanted to share before? Because we're on the hour now. Thank you for joining us, Jackie. Okay, so Andy, if you want to
message to say that she's got to go.
Yeah, I saw the message come up. That's so cool.
It works.
It does. Isn't that cool? I love it. Okay, well, if no one else wants to kind of put in their 2p's worth, then we can stop the recording, I think.
Yeah, I'll just very, very quickly say once again, thank you for what you've shared with us this evening. And just to go back to fear, I think that is we can slip into a fear-based mentality so very easily without even realizing it, and then it becomes the norm. And then as more fear comes down and impacts on our life, we just absorb it and we keep living in this constant, perpetual cycle of fear.
Yeah.
And from the tiny little things, you know, like walking down the street with no shoes on, the fear of ridicule because you've not got shoes on.
Yeah.
So, but yet it's better for you, but yet we don't do it through fear of ridicule.
Do you know, it's weird you say that, because I knew that my whole body would benefit from barefoot shoes. I knew that for years, yeah. But I was always scared to wear barefoot shoes because around here you get lots of crap on the street, like broken glass and all sorts of crap, yeah. So I was always really scared, or if I trod on a rock, it would hurt my foot. But, you know, when I finally went, well, actually, my body told me to do it. I had no choice in the end. So, yeah, barefoot shoes, I wouldn't go back to any other shoes now. I couldn't go back to any other shoes now. So,
well, feel free to share any recommendations. Stick them on the group, please.
Okie dokie.
Funnily enough, I have been looking at barefoot type footwear, but primarily just recently, over the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at real moccasins, not these fake ones, but real leather moccasins,
cool.
which are grounding. But I'm trying to find out whether or not the Indian rubber that they put on is an insulator. I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, rubber generally is an insulator.
Yeah, but is there a difference between natural rubber, say that's been formulated from a tree, or plastic rubber?
Yes, there is.
Formulated in a factory.
So what you'd want, so it's natural latex that is the natural rubber, as opposed to a synthetic one. That's the wording you want to look for, natural latex.
Right. So that will not prevent your grounding, whereas manufactured plastic rubber.
No, all rubber will insulate.
Right. Yeah, you want like leather, or I mean, if they're moccasins, yeah, you want non-rubber, non-plastic.
Yeah.
Not like the best natural materials.
You want tough leather, don't you? You don't want suede leather. You don't want soft leather on the soles of your feet.
Yeah.
You want a good thick leather, and that's the issue that I'm having. I can find all these wonderfully fantastic moccasins that are like slippers in the house, but are not really utilised for the outdoors, even though they might say, "Oh, you can wear these outdoors." And then you look at them and you think, "No, it would last me a week."
Oh dear. Yeah, the barefoot shoes I wear, because I'm vegan, they do have the rubber soles on them. But I do know there's a guy called Stefan Burns. I don't know if you know his YouTube channel. He's a geophysicist and he talks a lot about, you know, the stuff with the sun. He does actually sell, they're not moccasins, but they are all leather shoes that actually have, I think it's a copper bit in the bottom, so it helps to get that connection with the earth.
Oh, please share.
I shall write that down.
To the group.
Yep.
I'll delve deeper into that one. But
yeah.
Other than that, there's so many things I want to. We could go for another hour.
Or you can make your own. You can always make your own.
Well, I have been looking at this as a possibility.
Yeah.
There's a lady that lives around the back from me, and she's a bit of a hobbyist when it comes to making things and sewing and things like that. So what I was thinking was getting some leather and folding it round my foot with little holes in, and then put just like you would if, like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, you just fold the leather around and then just put a leather lace through it, and then when you put it on, just tighten it up a little bit, we'll put a little bow in it. So I have been contemplating something like that.
Cool.
Because that makes to me more sense than paying 100, 150, 200 pounds for something that isn't going to do what I want it to do.
Yeah, and I have to say the very expensive barefoot shoes, quality. I mean, you pay like 150, 200 pounds for a pair of I can't remember the brand of them, but they're not worth the money. And they have rubber soles. They don't have what you want, which is the leather sole. So,
Well, thanks for that.
That's all right.
I'll bring up the stop recording. Have you got a few final words, or are you ready to just cut it there?
I was going to say real quick before you guys go, I'm into rocks and beads too, and citrine, which is like a golden quartz type color.
Yes.
Citrine, that's very good for positive energy.
Yeah.
So I like to mix citrine and black obsidian together. And what black obsidian does is kind of pull in your shadows, like your fears.
Oh, yes. Bring stuff right to the surface.
Right. And then the citrine, it works well with that because citrine's very warm, right? So I've mixed obsidian with different stuff, and sometimes it doesn't go good together, but citrine goes good with black obsidian, or you could do citrine and maybe black tourmaline. But both those combinations I feel really helpful for just bringing back in that positive, warm energy into your space, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of dispelling fears and negativity also.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And of course,
Obsidian. Hi everyone. Obsidian.
Hello, Kevin.
Pink quartz, turquoise, red amethyst that I got up north. Oh, the obsidian's from the Black Hills of South Dakota, and so is the pink quartz. But
Yes.
What's the other one? Oh, the citrine. The citrine. Yeah, I've got that too. That's a good balance to the others.
And of course, the other thing that brings you back into balance is anything in the frequency of 432 hertz, because that is the closest frequency to nature, which is, our natural frequency, 432 hertz. Okay. There's my final words.
Wait before you go. My 28's heart frequency chakra. Open up your heart. Let the love shine through.
Indeed. Thank you, Kevin.
Right.